comments, right?
Yes.
Hey, Magic Makers. I'm Virella.
I'm Yukita Cosplay.
I'm CJ Peterson. Welcome to Magic Making Mischief. Get your wands to the ready, folks, because we solemnly swear we're up to no good. And speaking of up to no good, we have a very special guest with us today. He is an actor. He is a producer. He is starting to direct eventually, and he is, guess what, a celebrity chef. It is Jeremy Miller.
Hey guys.
Yay!
All right.
Thank you so much for having me on.
We're super excited to have you on. Before we get started, we have a couple of things. We have with us today Jeremy Vanders, who says hello. Jeremy Vanders, pop up his comment. Yay, Jeremy Vanders, who is the maker.
I was expecting you. I'm very distracted by how CJ's doing this, so I'm just watching her do the thing. Jeremy Vanders Wands, maker of wonderful wands since 2024. They have version 1. I have version 2.0. There you go.
I have Luna today. I misplaced my original wand right now.
Oh, no. Yes, hello.
Super happy here. Yay. So we have this in a couple weeks, actually not this weekend, but next weekend we have Missouri Comic-Con coming up down in Lake Jackson, Texas. I will be there. Super Harvey will be there. And we have with us super special surprise. We have Puppy with us. We'll be bringing Super Puppy Tegan. We got this last weekend. She is little tiny Tegan. Yeah,
so cute. She's so cute.
Spaniel, and she's 8 weeks. We just got her last week, so she will be joining us for Comic-Con for the next 6 months because we can't kennel her yet. So she's a little tri-colored thing. She's tiny. We call her the tiny terrorist at the moment. Yeah, she's adorable. But yeah, she has this little carrier that we carry her in, and she'll be joining us for Comic-Con for the foreseeable future. So we'll have her for Brazoria Comic-Con. We have tons of guests coming. You can find out who they are at BrazoriaComicCon.com. I will be running the floor per usual. Super Hubby will be running around, but we will have the tiny terrorist with us, so you can come see her as well. Come join us for that. But in the meantime, go ahead.
Where are our 80s fans? I want them to chime in because I grew up on Growing Pains. I'll be honest with you. Like I felt like we kind of grew up together on some of that. I was a little younger, but like I still kind of felt like I was like, yes, I am in this family.
Honestly, I love that. I mean, that's one of the things I get the biggest kick out of when I get to do the cons and the autograph shows and stuff, is getting to hear exactly that. You know, I feel like I've known you forever. You know, I feel like we're family, and you have an instant connection. It's very cool.
I know you as Linus.
Awesome. My other favorite, man, I was
90s baby.
That's awesome. No, I loved getting to do Linus. Doing Peanuts was one of the biggest honors of my life. And especially, I was a big Peanuts fan as a kid. I got the role at 8, and Linus was my favorite. So it was the coolest thing in the world to get to be a part of and to get to be my favorite character.
Oh my goodness, you peaked, buddy. That's awesome.
It was pretty cool. I actually got hired. It's the only time I ever got hired on the spot. They brought me in for my first read, and as soon as I got done reading, I was in the little sound booth, and I believe it was Lee Mendelson. It might have been Bill Melendez, the other big producer of Peanuts, but he kicked open the door and he goes, "You sound the most like the original Linus I've ever heard. You're hired."
Wow.
And it was just,
that's awesome.
it was just that quick, and I was over the moon.
Aww,
Cool.
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. So yeah, you got to do like two major roles with those two that are part of like such a huge part of pop culture in and of itself. Like that is.
I was very, very blessed to have two projects like that were such a core of, that 80s, 90s experience.
Right. We watched you grow up on Growing Pains. I mean,
right.
Like literally watched you grow up.
The cute years, the awkward years, and yes, there were many more of those. But yes, getting to grow up on camera had its drawbacks, but there's many more positives, and the relationships I got to form with fans and with people who only knew me from the show is really kind of cool. I have multiple relationships that have been many years that were formed with fans of the show, people I met just in passing who ended up becoming very close to me. That's kind of special.
Do you have like a really fun story from there?
Oh, I have many. One of the coolest is I had a Wish kid want to come meet me. He was projected not to live past the age of 21. He had a terminal heart condition, and he was granted a wish by the Starlight Foundation. And out of anything he could have had, he chose to come to the set to meet me. He had such a affinity for my character and such a connection, and he envied Ben's life so much, that family life that he didn't have. And I got to meet him. We got to spend time together. They brought him to the set. We had an amazing day, and him and I formed a lifelong friendship. He actually survived. We wrote a book about this. He survived and is now a pediatric cardiologist treating children who have the same conditions that he had.
Oh, God,
that's amazing.
Awesome.
And I got to play a part in that. I got to help inspire him, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And that's one of the coolest fan stories I've ever had, because, we had lots of Wish kids come through. Some wanted to do a guest spot on the show. Most wanted to meet Kirk, very understandable. Some just wanted to come to a taping and get to meet us. But this kid, it was the only one in particular who wanted to go out of his way to meet me. That was his big wish. And I was so honored by that. Like I said, we just ended up forming this lifelong friendship. I mean, he is my other brother. He calls my mom. I talk to his mom and his sister all the time. I mean, we are family.
I love that.
Cool.
So
that's awesome. You said you wrote a book about it.
Here, yeah, we wrote a book. It's called When I Wished Upon a Star. And it's a dual biography. It's kind of like I'd say about 60% him, 40% me. But we got into as much, I laid everything bare. It gets into my childhood and the show and the abuse and the struggles and the different things. And it talks about his life. I lived my life, so I don't find that part quite as interesting. His story's completely fascinating to me. His dad abandoned the family on his 5th birthday. His mom worked multiple jobs, including being a prison guard at the local prison to try and raise him. So he was a latchkey kid like I was. His older sister raised him for the most part because his mom was gone. And he yearned for that family, that close family experience that we had. And this guy just literally he created something out of nothing. He was told he wouldn't survive. He was told he couldn't learn. He had a learning disability and had never gotten anything higher than like low C's. Coming to the set made him realize that anything was possible. And from that point on, he started getting nothing but A's. He set his mind on becoming a doctor, a pediatric cardiologist, and he went and he achieved that. Even though he had to have 2 heart valve replacements, one during between his first and second years of med school. And he still persevered and did it. He's one of the most amazing. His name is Dr. Brandon Phillips, and he's one of the most amazing men I've ever known. And I'm very proud to call him my brother and my friend.
Dr. Brandon Phillips. Shout out to him. There we go.
So yeah, that's my favorite fan story. I have plenty of other odd ones. I mean, I was just at a con about 2 weeks ago, or not 2 weeks ago, sorry, 2 or 3 months ago, and I had a lady walk up to me with her husband next to her, and she walks up and goes, "So I just had to tell you, you're my hall pass." I look up at her husband, and all he can say is, "Well, it's true." It's like, okay, I'm flattered. Thank you. Here's an autograph. Bye-bye. I was trying to be nice, but it was a little awkward. We have those kinds of situations occasionally.
I just feel like, good to know. Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's kind of, okay, bye. I was trying not to be rude, but it was a little,
awkward.
Kind of hard to figure out what to say to that.
In the chat, I put "When I Wished Upon a Star," Dr. Brendan Phillips, and I put "Get the Book" in the
awesome.
chat. Everybody's got it.
Speaking of which, we have a few comments in here. Do you want to catch up on those?
I was going to say, the good question here is, who is your favorite person that you have cooked for?
Oh, that's really, well, that's an easy one, actually. That would be Alan Thicke, my TV father. Getting to cook for him was always a blast because he would bring me up to the ranch, his house in Santa Barbara, and I'd cook for him and his family, and he'd invite Kirk and Tracy and Joanna and our entire crew up, and their families would come, and I would cook for everybody. And Alan was always one of my favorite people in the world. Every one of us misses him daily, and he was easily my favorite person to cook for.
Oh,
so what's your favorite?
If you really want to, I don't mind having a chef.
What's your favorite meal to cook?
I am very ADD, so it all depends on the mood. I'm very much known for my soups. Those are some of my favorite things to cook, but barbecue is something, I'll spend 18 hours on the smoker. Italian, I was classically French trained. I studied in China. I apprenticed at a couple restaurants in Shanghai. And so I'm very eclectic. I collect tons of classic cookbooks, and I learn from that. So that's why I've stuck to catering and private chefing mostly, because it allows me to constantly do different types of cooking. I never get bored. I've spent very little time in a restaurant kitchen, like long term, because you're doing the same thing over and over and over. And I know my ADD will not allow that. So with the private chefing and doing that kind of thing, I get to create unique menus for my clients all the time. So one week it could be Italian, the next week it'd be Indian, it could be classic American comfort food, whatever they're wanting, I can alter it to that. And it keeps me engaged and interested.
That's very cool.
Nice. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So I'm going to pop back to growing pains real quick.
Yes.
As the younger brother in the show, did you ever get like any brotherly advice from Kirk while you were on the show, or fatherly advice actually from
Alan.
You just said his real name.
Alan Thicke.
Alan Thicke. That was yes.
Fatherly advice was much more prevalent. Alan was very paternal with all of us on the show. He was very much a guardian and really looked out for all of us. Most of my advice coming from Alan was about girls. Alan was well known to be a ladies' man. Bit of a playboy, probably the only knock or negative anybody's ever been able to say about him, because he's one of the sweetest human beings ever. But I got a lot of good advice about how to treat a woman properly, how to be in a relationship and be a good man for a woman. He was very good about that kind of thing, and very insightful, and would often, he was very generous with his time when it came to asking advice. So if I had an issue or I had a problem, I could come to him with that kind of stuff. It went for anything. If I had an issue with a role, if I wanted to talk, acting, he was there for that. But I have to admit, I came to him mostly for advice on girls.
Of course, as you should.
And Kirk and I didn't get a lot of advice from Kirk because we palled around more. He was my big brother that we played pranks on everybody, and we, messed with Tracy constantly like big brothers do. And I learned how to be a very good prankster. I learned how to, pull practical jokes, and learned how to pickpocket keys from somebody's car so you can move their car without them knowing and then get them back in their pockets. So at the end of the day, when they go looking for their car, you've set up a little scavenger hunt for them. These are things Kirk was very good at. And I learned a lot of very devious, although fun things from him too. He was a big prankster, a big jokester, and I got a lot of that from him.
Nice.
What a thing to pick up from an older brother, am I right?
Hey, he also taught me how to hotwire the little go-karts that the grips all use to move their equipment. So him and I could take them and tootle around the Burbank Ranch and just, it was older brother stuff. I mean, you look back, you're like, okay, it might not have been the greatest thing, but it was all done in fun. Nothing was malicious. Everybody got a laugh out of it at the end of the day. So that was the stuff I got from Kirk.
We got a twofer from Super Hubby over here. Best prank, and then after that, do you have a favorite keto meal?
Ooh.
So best prank first.
Best prank, absolutely. The most intricate was one where we actually did steal one of our assistant producers' cars.
Sounds about right.
So
oh my goodness.
We lifted his keys, and Kirk hid his car in the forest on the Fantasy Island set.
Oh no.
And then we left him a scavenger hunt all across the lot. I mean, we sent him from one side of the lot to the other, to the business offices, to the parking lots and back, finding these little clues and notes. And it might not have been the nicest thing to do at the end of the day after a long, hard day. He comes out and finds this, but he got us back and he got Kirk back. But that was probably the best prank we got to pull. It took this poor guy probably 2.5, 3 hours to piece together all the clues and to locate his car and be able to go home at the end of the day. But like I said, it was all done in fun, and they promptly got Kirk back. They couldn't get me. I was a little young. I didn't have a car. But I don't know if you guys remember the show, TV's Bloopers and Practical Jokes.
Yes,
they got them involved in it, and they stole Kirk's car from the dealership where it was being serviced and had them call him and tell him it had been lifted, and he had to come to the sheriff's station to fill out a report. His family was in on it. The cast was in on it. They had cameras on set getting him from every angle when he got the call. And basically, when he got to the sheriff's station, they told him they brought around a completely stripped model of his car that they had found. Same year, same everything. They put his girlfriend's picture on the dashboard. They hung his family photo from the rear view mirror so it looked like his. And they brought this completely stripped, no tire, no engine shell around and said, well, here's your car. And I mean, they had cameras on him. He was almost in tears. And that's when his mom and dad and his sisters, Candace and everybody, came tearing around in his car and said, we got you.
Oh my goodness.
So,
that's a deep cut.
Like I said, we went deep when it came to pranks.
Dang.
That's a deep cut. Oh my goodness.
And then favorite keto meal?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite keto meal, something I've been exploring a lot more recently, is I do it's my morning breakfast meal is I'll do a shrimp salad or a chicken salad that I make up, Greek yogurt, no mayo, pureed hummus, and my chopped shrimp and onions and celery and stuff. And then I will load a huge avocado with that. And that is my favorite morning meal keto recipe. It's just so easy, perfect level of fats and protein, and just gets the day going good, gives me energy for my morning workouts.
You sound so much healthier than me.
I'm trying. As a chef, it's really hard. I eat horribly most of the time, but I'm doing I'm trying to be a little better about it.
I literally just had grilled nuggets from Chick-fil-A. You're doing a lot better than I am.
You're not just a actor. You're not just, that, but you're also like a producer and an author, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I am getting involved in the kind of more of the behind the scenes in the industry. I've been consulting on a lot of scripts for friends and some different production companies that I am tied into, and they bring me newer, fresher scripts that they want to work on, and I help tighten them up, kind of clean up the language a little bit, the dialogue, and essentially just tighten the story up and remove anything superfluous. I am unable to write an entire script myself. I have sat down and tried many times. I do not have that creative spark to write a really good one. But what I can do is look at a script and tell you what needs to be fixed and what doesn't, and where it's strong and where it's not, just with the experience and the many, many scripts I've read over the years. So that's something I've been getting more and more into. I co-wrote a TV series with my former podcast partner, Dave Navarro. It's a great series that we have a few companies looking at right now. And I'm also helping to produce it's a couple of different films and TV shows. One of the films is actually a Christmas movie that we're hoping to get shot in El Salvador. And so I've got my feet and my hands in a lot of different pools at the moment. I have 3 different production companies that I'm working with on probably 6 different shows and movies at the moment. So we're just hoping to get at least a couple of them across the finish line before the end of the year.
You're like an octopus. You got your hand in all the kitchens.
Hey, you got to keep. That's one thing I learned from Alan, truly, by just watching him, was he was always, here he is, huge star of a TV show, but he was always working on something else. He was always working on the next project or the next thing. His script always had on the back page about 40 or 50 different numbers that he had to get to and call all week long for this new game show he's producing, or this new song he's writing, or this new movie he's helping to produce. And that's what I learned from him, is no matter how successful you are, no matter how well you're doing at any given time, stay busy. Keep your hands in looking for the next, big project and big thing you can involve yourself with. I've always said better busy than bored.
Period.
Bored gets me in trouble.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I
We have some
really
nice
like
comments that were said to you as well. Our favorite Julie, she goes crying over here, talking about a sweet story, the Make-A-Wish story. Jazz says, "Hey, Anthony, such a great guest. Love the show." He's talking about growing pains.
Yes.
And we have Julie again. Love this episode, ladies. And Jeremy, you are so amazing.
Thank you, Julie.
There you go.
Awesome. Very cool.
I gotta know real quick though. Were you similar in the fact of Linus with his hobbies, such as, playing the piano and whatnot?
I have to say, I actually did relate a lot to Linus. I didn't have a blanket, but I did have a little stuffed bear my grandmother had knitted for me that I carried around everywhere till I was probably 10 years old.
So cute.
I was a bit of a young philosopher. I always loved to read when I was young, and that I was always very similar to, Linus in that, as he was always kind of the philosophical base of the show. So yeah, I did relate to Linus a lot like that.
That was one of my favorite things about Linus, is that he was such a cute character, but also like he'd have these really deep moments where he would come up with something and say it, and you're just like, that's profound. Oh my gosh.
Like, you don't expect little boy to say that. But
and I always loved those aspects of his character.
That's awesome.
That and his protective streak. That was one thing you didn't do. You didn't mess with Linus's friends either. And that's always been, a big part of my personality. Is I'm very docile. I am very laid back. You can do just about anything you want to me, but I've got a demon side, and that comes out if you mess with my loved ones. And I definitely related to that in Linus as well, when he'd whip out that blanket and start snapping anybody who came near.
Snapping was great. I remember that. That was my favorite.
I forgot about that. He did. He was a little bugger. Do you have any advice for people who either, actually twofold, who want to get into like acting, or who want to get into like, the private chef area? Because you've got your two major things going on, actually: acting, producing, and
Chefing.
chefing. So you got like three major things going on. So do you have any advice for people who want to get into those areas?
On the entertainment side, that's a lot tougher. I would say first and foremost, make sure it is something you really want to do. It's not just a hobby. It's not just because the chances of you treating it like a hobby and having any success are slim to none. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It has been known to happen, but the people who are successful in this business, whether it's directing, whether it's acting, whether it's writing, they are dedicating themselves full time to that. I mean, 100%. If you want to get into acting, I would tell you what I told my oldest son when he asked me about it. And he said, Dad, I think I might want to try this out. I said, okay, let me tell you what your life will entail if we do this. Your mother and I will pick you up from school every day. You will do your homework in the car while we drive you to auditions. We will drive to as many auditions as you get each day. We'll probably grab dinner in the car. When we get home, any homework you haven't finished will be finished before you go to bed. Then we get up in the morning and we rinse and repeat. And we do this every single day, 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. If you want to do this, that's what you got to do. That was my life for 4.5 years, from the time I was 5 and we decided we wanted to do this until I booked Growing Pains at 8.5. I was out there. I mean, I went on over 400, 500 auditions. I was out there every single day, 3, 4 different auditions a day. If you want to do this, that's what you got to do. You got to give it 100%. So I'm not trying to dissuade anybody or say don't do it, but make sure it's what you want. This isn't something you can just do kind of on the side. If you want it to be a hobby, there's nothing wrong with that. Go do local theater. Do plays, do things like that where you can still express, and be creative, but do it as a hobby. If you want this to be your job, you've got to dive in 100%. You have to. Chefing, on the other hand, I would say is a little easier to get going on. I mean, there's all sorts of schools, there's all sorts of whatever. You can learn however you want. Especially if you're a little younger, I would say don't go to culinary school. I know that sounds weird, but I would say the same thing Anthony Bourdain used to say. Don't go to culinary school. Go and get a job working as a kitchen porter or as the gopher in a professional kitchen and learn it from the inside out. You do that for 2 years, you'll have the knowledge I had coming out of culinary school, and yet you'll have made money and I was in debt. So it's a much better way to go about it. You'll learn the same stuff from inside a kitchen. Go get the practical experience and move your way up the ladder. I mean, even if you're the kitchen porter, you're the guy who's dragging out the grease every night. Guess what? The first time the salad guy doesn't show up, you're the first person they turn to.
Nice.
If you're reliable and you're there every day, you're the first person they turn to. And then guess what? You're not hauling the grease anymore. Now you're the salad guy. And the next time somebody else doesn't show up, you move up the ladder again because you're learning. You're asking to be there. You're wanting to take everything in. It's the best and most effective way to become a chef.
Very cool. Awesome.
Love that.
Brilliant advice. Do you have anything you want to add? We have just a couple minutes left.
Honestly, we hit on quite a lot of it. I just, I like to tell people none of us were ever meant to do this alone. I love podcasts like these. I love groups where people get together and talk and share and feel. None of us were meant to get through life on our own. Okay, we were meant to do this as a team with the people who love us, the people who are around us. So if you're struggling with anything, if things are getting hard, reach out to those around you. Reach out to a friend, a family member, a clergyman, anybody.
Absolutely.
Well,
The best
Jeremy,
advice right there.
You have been a real treat to have.
Well, thank you guys.
Of a doubt. Your stories were amazing. They touched the heart, and you have been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Anybody wants to learn more about Jeremy, go ahead to his website at jeremyjamesmiller.com. That's JeremyJamesMiller.com. And you can find out a whole lot about him. I've been over to his site. You could check it out. In the meantime, next week, we will have the Fusion Hop podcast joining us, and we will get to learn more about them. We'll also have not this coming weekend, but the next weekend, February 28th and March 1st, I will be down with Super Hubby at Brazoria Comic Con. So check them out at BrazoriaComicCon.com down at Lake Jackson, Texas. So same time next week, Fusion Hot will be joining us. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks, Linus.
We have a few other cons coming up after this month too, so keep your eyes open, guys. Pop Culture Con coming up March 14th and 15th, and I'll be guesting at Retropalooza the end of March, which I think is the 20th and 29th, but I'm not sure right this second. But make sure that y'all are following us on YouTube, Instagram, all the things, TikTok, so that you can see what's coming up. We try to keep you guys updated, and y'all come out, join us for the fun. And always, be part of the magic and the mischief. Make sure you smash thumbs up and share this one out because Jeremy, it's been wonderful having you. Some awesome stories. Truly appreciate it. And till next time, guys, get those wands up because it is mischief managed. Bye.